She turns into a living zombie and can only eat meat from humans. And it is hysterical. And so he tries to do everything he can to help out his wife.
Marcella was good.
Yes, Marcella.
And I don't know what. I think I watched some crime show, and then it led me to that. They recommended Marcella, and I was like, thinking another British accent show. I loved it. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Marcella was good. I hope the next one comes out.
I
watched that this last year.
Season 2.
Really good.
Sense8. If you haven't watched that.
It looks good.
It looks good, and I was surprised Netflix canceled it. It got canceled after 2
really?
seasons, so they're not going to finish it. But then the movie Special Correspondence. Oh, sorry. Special Correspondence. Spectral was a movie also, and Special Correspondence. Stranger Things. Good stuff right there with Winona Ryder and Matthew Modine.
Is Stranger Things is that a science fiction?
It is. It ends up being a little bit. There's some aliens involved in it.
Is that in Indiana?
Midwest.
No. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I really like that. Going back to British, The Crown. About Elizabeth.
Is that kind of like a British House of Cards
royalty?
Or no?
No,
not really.
John Lithgow was in it though, and he plays Winston Churchill.
Oh, cool.
And, yeah, I was really surprised how much I got sucked into The Crown. It got 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, or 91%. The Do-Over, which is another Adam Sandler movie on Netflix, he has been making some money from them. The Fall, which is actually a BBC 2, which is picked up by Netflix. The Last Kingdom is a Viking one, which is similar to the Vikings.
Like it. I've seen season 1, and I'm in the middle of season 2. I like it a lot.
There's some overlay with some of the Viking was on the History Channel.
Yes.
Yeah, and so a lot of this one was supposedly written by a guy who did a lot of research and based on some of the actual facts that actually happened with that, where the Viking is more dramatized on the History Channel. The OA, which I was really happy with it halfway through, and then the last half I was not happy with, even though one of the guys that's in, his name's Jason Isaacs, and he was in The Patriot and The Fury. But, I got a little crazy there at the end. Comedy-wise on Netflix, a Ridiculous Six with Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider, and Terry Crews. And it did not do well on IMDb. It was funny.
Really?
I mean,
cool.
It's silly American humor where the majority of the people probably like it, but it's not what the critics are going to like.
Have you seen The Ranch? Not trying to take this something
different.
Is it any good?
I gave it 3 episodes, and I can't. It
really?
Is forced.
I haven't seen it yet.
It is forced fake laughter at situations, and it was so easily predictable what they were going to say. I mean, with Ashton Kutcher and Sam Elliott, and I like Sam Elliott, and man, it was just so forced. I couldn't hack it anymore. Kind of silly, but kind of a storytelling one was War Machine with Brad Pitt, which is a movie.
I wanted to see that. What's
it even has Anthony Michael Hall and Topher Grace in it. Topher Grace was in that 70s show. Yeah. But it's about Afghanistan. It even has Bing Kingsley in it. He plays a silly Afghanistan president. There's some stuff, but Brad Pitt talks like this all the time. But he's kind of he's all serious about it all the time. And Anthony Michael Hall is like, yes, sir, yes, sir. He does whatever he says. He's kind of like the yes man. Another British comedy there, a half-hour comedy, is called Crashing with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And she's in something else, too. That's recent. Oh, she was also in a show called Fleabag, which is a British comedy as well. And it's just kind of the stuff that makes you uncomfortable, but you can't help but laugh. So Crashing and Fleabag are both those. Winona Earp, which is a Netflix original as well. I will have to say Melanie Scrofano is hot, but the show's not that great. But it's kind of a Western-ish theme in modern day times, and Tim Rosen plays Wyatt Earp in it. But everybody that Wyatt Earp has killed in previous come back to life. and they have to be killed by somebody in the bloodline there for Winona Earp of the Earp family. Girl Boss was a kind of a dramatized, has some humor in it, with Britt Robinson and Johnny Simmons. John Simmons was also in Perks of Being a Wallflower. But it was okay. It was about a girl who started her own online company and stuff. Then if we want to go comedy, which is a kind of a remix, a retake, whatever you want to call it, Wet Hot American Summer, and it is filled with stars. I mean, Paul Rudd, Bradley Cooper, Amy Poehler are just some of the few that are in it.
Awesome.
But it is so stupid. It's one of those things, like, it's kind of slapstick comedy type stuff.
Yeah.
But Rotten Tomatoes, most people, 92% on that, but IMDb is 7.4, so it's kind of low. But then if we want to go documentary, I did watch one documentary in the past year that was kind of interesting, and it was called Get Me Roger Stone.
Okay.
And it was about Roger Stone is probably one of the most political, corrupt people that you can think of, and kind of talks about how he got Donald Trump into the White House. And there's a lot of articles out there where he is kind of the driving stone, where if you are not doing something wrong, you're not going to be famous type thing.
Yeah.
You gotta be crazy to get famous, and he pushes for that. And so it was kind of interesting, but I did read a couple articles after that talking about the dramaticism of Roger Stone, who just wants to be famous, but behind the scenes, he doesn't want to be in the spotlight all the time. So that's cool. Some of the Netflix originals I pulled out the last year, and probably one of the most talked about ones was probably 13 Reasons Why.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see any of it?
I haven't, no.
It was about
My
a girl.
wife read the book, but...
I'm curious. I probably need to read the book, but it was about
good.
A girl, Catherine Langford plays a lead role, where she was kind of bullied and things happened to her in high school, and she commits suicide, and she makes these 13 tapes blaming the different people and all the things that led up to her suicide. And
did you see the whole thing?
I did watch all of it, and actually Selena Gomez is one of the producers for it, and she actually...
Wow.
They do an episode afterwards where they interview her and talking about her reasons why and she did it, which was pretty interesting. And I can really see why they might wanted to do something this to talk about how bullying or how, and it's not just bullying, but when situations happen, how people respond to them and how people react to them in high school. Mm-hmm. And so I think she wanted to make an impact, and unfortunately, a lot of people took it the wrong way.
Yeah.
But it was quite interesting.
I think people were just, thinking that the movie would influence people to commit suicide, but I don't, They also used to think death metal would make people follow Satan, too, so, you know how that is.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Medici? Is it Medici, Masters of Florence?
No, I have not seen that yet. That is one as
I
a
haven't
possibility.
Seen it yet. I tried Frontier. I like it. I didn't
mention Frontier. Did I mention Frontier?
Yeah, I don't know if you mentioned Frontier. You might have mentioned the name, but you didn't really talk about it. But I watched an episode or two.
It's got Jason Momoa, who actually plays one of the guys in Game of Thrones.
Yes, he was. He was one of the leaders of one of the tribes.
I cannot remember his name on Game of Thrones, but he's also going to play the new Aquaman on Dawn of Justice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And let's see. Going back. Flaked is kind of interesting. It's about a recovering alcoholic with Will Arnett.
I watched half of the first season.
I really liked it.
Yeah, I like it. It's different. I like it.
You got David Sullivan, who's in it, who actually is in also Argo. As they can say, Gar, fuck yourself. Sorry. 13 Reasons Why, or 3%.
Wow.
Is actually a Brazilian movie.
Oh, really?
It's all in Portuguese. And I tried watching it with the translation where, it was in different voice. I hated it. I changed it over where I was just reading the subtitles and people were talking. I can't stand to see their mouths off from the words.
I know. I don't like it either.
But some interesting characters, 3%, about the 3% that make it and are allowed to reproduce or not reproduce or something like that. I can't. It was definitely different, but it was one of the first Brazilian movies. And then the first Argentinian movie is actually, let's see, where is it? I had it on there, and I actually watched it. Oh, the Estocolmo, which actually translates to Stockholm. And it's about sex trafficking, where the sex traffickers, they're trying to bring down a sex trafficking ring through politics and so forth. They had a corrupt district attorney. But Estocolmo actually translates to Stockholm.
Yeah.
Where they develop a little bit of a Stockholm syndrome of the people that are, keeping them kidnapped and keeping them out, and so they kind of fall for them and so forth. So I was kind of surprised to see that.
Did you see Big Friendly Giant? It was really good. I liked it. I was surprised. It wasn't bad.
Where I teach at, actually, the kids had to read the book, and then so we went to the movie here in Kokomo.
Yeah, cool.
But I was so tired. I was there with Mr. T, and the two of us both fell asleep.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, for a kid's show, it was pretty cool.
It was pretty good.
Alice Through the Looking Glass, I like it a lot.
Did you really?
The Alice movie.
Was that Johnny Depp?
Johnny Depp,
is in that one?
And Sacha Baron Cohen was in it, too.
Oh, I might watch it just for that.
He's Mr. Time, and he did pretty good at that.
Don't
forget, you can't not watch Borat before you die, so don't forget.
Oh, my gosh.
Something I'm trying to watch is I'm trying to find the Ali G shows that Sacha Baron Cohen did. It was on FX or HBO.
Something like that.
I can't find them anymore.
Really?
It was so good because it's a little bit like Borat. It takes a little bit from what he did in that to Borat. I can't find them. They're so good. They were on FX.
The Borat show, I couldn't find anybody to go with me, so I happened to be in Muncie, and I was like, I'll swing in and see what's playing. Borat was playing. Went to theater, and that scene when they were naked and wrestling, I have never cringed so much in my life. He pushes the limit.
I know.
To all in.
And not a lot of people have seen Borat, but I tell you what, I bought the DVD. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. Man.
Our bar winch is over here at this time.
We're at the Tin Man Brewery in Kokomo. We hadn't probably talked about this in part 2 of 2. We haven't talked about it.
Where are you going, bar winch? You got a job to do, I guess.
He's got bar work to do.
Now, did you watch any of the Designated Survivor? I know it was on regular TV, but I had some people tell me Kiefer Sutherland does a great job in Designated Survivor.
It's really good. I've heard it's really awesome, and he does a really good job. Is that about the vice president or one of the government officials that's left after so many of them die?
Yeah, anytime they have huge meetings, they take one of the...
Okay, yeah, he wasn't a vice president, but he was down the line, right?
Yeah, he was down the line, and they put him somewhere else, and then everything got blown up and so forth. But that's Kiefer Sutherland for you. Also on regular TV, we have Modern Family. I know it's a comedy. It's in its 8th season, though, or 8th or more, but it's just got great writing. I mean, of all people, Ed O'Neill from Married with Children.
Yeah.
But Sofia Vergara, Julie Bowen and Ty Burrell. Ty Burrell has actually won some Emmys for that. That show itself has 5 Emmys for Outstanding Comedy. It is just amazing. And how well they link everything is just great. A show that's actually on Netflix now from USA is called Shooter. And it's actually produced by Mark Wahlberg, but it's got Ryan Phillippe in it and Omar Epps and Cynthia Anna Robinson, who's also in The Accountant with Ben Affleck. One season. IMDb gave it 7.7. TV.com gave it a 9, which surprised me. But Rotten Tomatoes, which is usually what the fans kind of look at, got a 44%.
Yeah.
I got halfway through it. I was like, I'm just going to finish it. Its storyline was okay, but how they went about it, I did not think they did that great of a job. It was kind of iffy, but it's not bad. The show I picked up recently on Netflix, though, was another comedy, Life in Pieces, with Colin Hanks and James Brolin and Dan Bakkendahl. But it's a CBS show. It's got 2 seasons out. And I'm still not done watching it, but it does kind of real life type stuff, and each show has like 4 little pieces of life on different situations and stuff. And I am finding I really like this show.
Oh, cool. I'll have to give it a try. I'm going to add it to my